Hi everyone. Have you ever wished that you were maybe stronger, or that you could lift more weight, or that the hassle of carrying heavy objects was a lot easier? Well, if you have, you may want to consider joining powerlifting. According to Alex Klemp in his article titled "The Effects of High and Low Repetition Daily Undulating Periodization Models with Equated Volume on Strength and Hypertrophy in Trained Males," he states that lifting higher weights over lower repetitions will gain more strength than if you were to lift lower weights on higher repetitions. And when you're in powerlifting, you will be doing a lot more of the higher weights over lower repetitions, which will overall increase your strength. So if you're thinking about joining powerlifting, you're obviously going to want to know what it's about, kind of how it works. So that's what I'm here to do today. I'm going to talk about meet procedure, the 3 lifts, which are squat, bench, and deadlift. And I'm going to get right into it. So first I'm going to talk about meet procedure. You will be divided into classes by gender and weight. Guys are going to go against guys, girls against girls, and then you're going to have a weight class, very similar to wrestling, that whatever weight class you fall in, you're going to lift against the people that weigh about the same weight as you. And then you will lift in this order: squat, bench, deadlift, and you will get 3 attempts at each of those lifts to get the maximum amount of weight for one lift. There's a referee system that works at these meets. They will have a chief referee that is in front of you, and then he is behind you for the bench press because you're laying down. Then you're going to have one referee on your right, one referee on your left, to make sure that you're doing the necessary movements and proper command system that is necessary for the lift. So next I'm going to talk about the squat. The first lift, they will load up the bar, and then they'll say the bar is loaded, and you'll walk up to the bar, hold it on your shoulders, and grip it with your hands. You will unrack it, take a step back, step or two, it's kind of up to you. You're going to set your feet, and then you will stand there erect, motionless. Once you're standing erect, motionless, you set your position. The chief referee will lower his hand and say squat. After this point in time, you cannot move your feet off the ground until he says rack it again. So once he says squat, you're stuck. You got to squat down until the top surface of your legs is lower than your knees. Your butt has to be lower than your knees to get the full range squat that is necessary in the lift. So once you've gotten down to that full range, you're going to stand back up, and you cannot move again until he says rack it. And in order for him to say rack it, you got to be standing motionless again, just like you started. He'll say rack it, and then after that point, put the bar back in the rack with or without the aid of spotters. The reasons for disqualification in the squat would be if you do not listen to the commands, you cannot lift the weight, or you pick up your feet. Okay, and then after that, you will then move on to the bench press. The lifter will lie down on the bench. He will have to keep his or her head, shoulders, butt, and feet flat on the bench surface or floor for your feet, obviously. Feet movement is allowed, but they must remain flat. The lifter will unrack the bar with or without the aid of spotters. It's up to the lifter. And you'll hold the bar with straight elbows until the chief referee will lower their hand, which you cannot see, but they will also say start, which is what starts the lift. The lifter will then lower the bar to his or her chest or abdominal area, and then press it back up until they have straight elbows again. The chief referee will not say rack it until the lifter is motionless, has straight elbows, locked out. And then once they do say rack it, you will return the bar to the rack. Very simple. The reasons for disqualification in the bench press are if you do not keep your head, shoulders, butt, or feet flat on their surface that they need to be on, whether it be the bench or the floor, or if you do not touch your chest or abdominal area, if you bounce the bar off your chest or abdominal area, and then of course if you can't lift the weight and you have to have the spotters take it off of you. So it's pretty simple, and then that's it for that one. The next one is the deadlift. This one is the simplest lift There's not even a starting command for it. Once the bar is loaded, you're going to walk up to it, you're going to grip it. There's a few different ways to grip it. It's all personal preference, which is left for you to find out. But either way, you're going to grip the bar, and you're going to lift it up until you're standing in an erect position with your knees locked, your shoulders back, and once you're in this locked position, the chief referee will say down, and you will then lower the bar under your control. If you drop the weight, it will not count. It has to be under your control when you're lowering the bar. And that's it for the deadlift. The reasons for disqualification for deadlift would be if you can't lift the weight, or if you're using your legs to kind of like help you jump it up when you're trying to stand it up. So it's pretty simple. And then all of these rules that I've stated up until this point are from the USA Powerlifting or IPF rulebook, International Powerlifting Rulebook. For the bench, I use the USA Powerlifting Rulebook, and then for the deadlift and squat, I use the International Powerlifting League Rulebook. They're very similar, whether you use the IPF rulebook or the USA Powerlifting Rulebook. They're very similar. You're not going to find very much differences. So whatever I said for the USA is going to reflect the IPF one very closely, but maybe just a few different things. So those are the two rule books I used when making this one, or for making this speech. And in conclusion, in order to win the meet, the lifter who lifts the most amount of weight for their class will be the winner. So they're going to take your highest squat that you did, your highest bench you did, and your highest deadlift that you did, and add them up. The person who lifts the most wins. And if there are two lifters that just so happen to lift the exact same amount of weight, they will then use your body weight, and the person that weighs less will win, because they will take your total amount of weight lifted and divide it by your body weight, and the number that is higher wins, which is the person that weighs less. And that's all I have for you. Thank you guys.